Life processes. The basic and essential activities performed by a living organisms to sustain and maintain the life. The life processes are nutrition, respiration, transportation, and the excretion. Nutrition is a process of breaking down the food to produce us energy. Transportation is a process of transporting useful and non-useful substance from part to another part of the organism, and the excretion is a process of removal of metabolic wastes. And the characters of the living organisms are the movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, production, excretion, and the nutrition. The metabolism means all chemical reaction that occur in the body. There are two types, anabolism and the catabolism. Anabolism means the larger molecules are made from smaller ones. Catabolism means the larger molecules are broken down and forms smaller ones. In anabolism, which requires the energy, and in catabolism, which releases the energy. The first process is nutrition. Nutrition is the process by which a living organisms derive and utilize its food. And they are the two types, autotrophic nutrition and the heterotrophic nutrition. In autotrophic nutrition, the autotrophic nutrition organisms prepare their own food. They are autotrophs. In heterotrophic nutrition, organisms do not prepare their own food. They dependent on the other organisms for their food. In autotrophic nutrition, photoautotrophic and chemoautotrophic are seen, and in heterotrophic nutrition, three types, halozoic nutrition, saprophytic nutrition, and the parasitic nutrition. The role of food is energy production, repairment of the cell, and build new cell for growth and development. Photoautotropic nutrition and the chemoautotropic nutrition. Photoautotropic nutrition used the light energy for the photosynthesis, and chemo used the chemical energy for photosynthesis. For example, green plant cyanobacteria euglena are photoautotropic, and the purple sulfur bacteria are the example for chemoautotropic nutrition. Then the heterotrophic nutrition. They are halozoic nutrition, saprophytic nutrition, and the parasitic nutrition. In the halozoic nutrition, the organism feed by ingesting whole food material, and food is digested and absorbed inside the animal body. For example, animals, herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and unicellular organisms. Saprophytic nutrition, organism feed on dead and decaying matter, and food is digested externally and then nutrients are absorbed. For example, most of the fungi, bread mold, mushroom, yeast, and some bacteria like E. coli, Escherichia coli. And the parasitic nutritionally, organism derive nutrition from plants and the animals without killing them, and obtain nutrition by living or inside the host. For example, tapeworm, lice, ticks, leech, cuscuta. Cuscuta is a parasitic plant which depend on plant or animals, and these are non-green plants, and the chlorophyll is absent, and the photosynthesis is also a photosynthetic autotrophic nutrition in plants using raw materials, that is carbon dioxide and water, in the presence of sunlight, and using a chlorophyll that converts a glucose with releasing of oxygen and the water. The mechanism of photosynthesis, the absorption of light energy by the chlorophyll that occur in a daytime. This is light dependent reaction, and the some light is converted into the chemical energy, that is ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and the some light used for the splitting of hydrogen molecules into hydrogen and the oxygen, reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates that occur in night, which is light independent reaction. Then stomata. Stomata is a tiny pore-like structure which is present in the surface of the leaf that function as transpiration and the exchange of gases during the photosynthesis and respiration. The stomata will swell. Then water comes in. The cell will swell. That is endosmosis. When the stomata will close, that is the water will lose. That is exosmosis. This is open stomata. There are five steps: ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and the egestion. Ingestion is taking of food. Digestion is breaking down of complex food substance into smaller soluble food substance. And absorption means digested food is absorbed in the blood. Assimilation means absorbed food used to provide energy and form a new cells for growth. Egestion is removal of undigestion of the food. The step of human digestive system or mouth esophagus concludes alimentary canal and the accessory organs. The alimentary canal is mouth to anus, that is mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and the anus. The accessory organs are the salivary gland, liver, pancreas, and gallbladder. Egestion is not equal to excretion because egestion is a removal of undigested and unabsorbed food, but the excretion is removing of waste from the cell of organism. It happens through the nose, skin, and the urethra. Digestive gland: mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. In the mouth, teeth, tongue, and salivary glands are present, and in esophagus, peristaltic movement is seen, and in stomach, gastric juice are produced by the gastric glands, and in small intestine, livers and pancreas. In liver produces the bile juice, and the pancreas produces the pancreatic juice, that is pancreatic amylase, trypsin, and the lipase of the pancreatic enzymes. Small intestine, that in small intestine, intestinal glands are produced the intestinal juice, and the large intestine, rectum, and the anus. In mouth, teeth helps for the mastication, that is chewing and crushing of food, tongue rolling, tasting, and swallowing of food, and salivary gland produces the saliva, having the salivary amylase that converts the starch into the maltose. Then esophagus or the food pipe, this shows the peristaltic movement, that is contraction and relaxation of the muscles which helps in the pushes food towards the stomach. That also passage of food from mouth to stomach. In the stomach, gastric juice are present, the pepsin, hydrochloric acid, and the mucus. Pepsin helps in breakdown of protein, and HCl provide acidic medium and which kill the bacteria and other germs in food and protects the inner lining of the stomach. And the liver produces the bile juice that's stored in the gallbladder. Bile juice helps in the emulsification of fats and makes the food alkaline. And the pancreas produces a pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice containing the enzymes, that is amylase, trypsin, and the lipase. Amylase helps in the digestion of carbohydrate. Trypsin helps in the digestion of proteins, and the lipase helps in the digestion of emulsified fats. The small intestine. Small intestinal glands secrete the intestinal juices. Villi are present in small intestine, that is a finger-like projections which supplied with the blood vessels. In the intestinal juice or the final digestion of food, and the villi helps in the absorption of digested food by increasing the surface areas. Large intestine, that is colon, absorption of the water, and the rectum, temporary collection of the waste, and the anus helps in the egestion, removal of undigested and unabsorbed food. The final digestion gives carbohydrate, glucose, proteins, amino acid, and the fats, that is glycerol plus fatty acids. Then steps in human nutrition are mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and the large intestine. Mouth ingestion, chemical digestion and mechanical digestion happens. Esophagus Bolus passes from here and peristalsis observed. In stomach, chemical digestion happens, and the small intestine chemical digestion and the absorption, and large intestine reabsorption of water. Small intestine of herbivorous animals is longer than carnivorous, as herbivores consume plant-based diet which contains the cellulose, which takes the longer time to digest. Then breathing and the respiration. Breathing is a process of exhaling and the inhaling the air in and out of the lungs, but the respiration is a process of breaking down of glucose to produce the energy. Breathing takes place in lungs and it is a physical process and energy is not produced. But the respiration takes place in the cells. It is a chemical process and energy is produced in the form of the ATP. Then types of respiration, that is aerobic respiration and the anaerobic respiration. Oxygen is required and it occurs in cytoplasm and the mitochondria. Complete breakdown of glucose takes place here. More energy is produced and the end products are carbon dioxide and the water. In anaerobic respiration, oxygen is not required. It occurs in the cytoplasm only. Incomplete breakdown of the glucose takes place and less energy is produced, and the end products are the carbon dioxide, ethanol and the lactic acid. Ethanol or lactic acid. Then glucose molecules, that is C6H12O6, that is 6 carbon molecule. When the breakdown in the cytoplasm produces a pyruvate, that is 3 carbon molecule with energy. Then in the absence of oxygen, that gives ethanol and carbon dioxide and releases the energy in yeast, and in lack of oxygen in the muscle cell which gives lactic acid plus energy, and in the presence of oxygen which gives carbon dioxide and the water with releasing energy, that is happens in the mitochondria. Human respiratory system. This is a structure of alveoli that present the squamous epithelium tissue. It is very thin and containing the RBC, in hemoglobin present that containing the iron. Is a human respiratory pigment. Then the alveoli, it is a site of exchange of gases in the lungs. It is very thin walled, that is one cell thick, and it is balloon like structure which expands when the air enters into it and richly supplied the blood vessels. Then how does exchange of gases occurs in the human body? It can be seen in these diagrams. Affinity of the hemoglobin for various gas, that the carbon monoxide has greater affinity than the oxygen. Oxygen has greater affinity than the carbon dioxide, that is more soluble in the blood. Inspiration and expiration we seen. Residual volume, that is RV, means the amount of air that remains in a person's lungs even after the maximum exhalation or the forcible exhalation. Then exchange of gases in plant. Two major process which involves the exchange of gases in plants, that is photosynthesis and respiration. In daytime photosynthesis occur and the respiration occur, and in the night time respiration occurs. The exchange of the gases through the stomata and the lenticels, that is woody stem. The large intercellular spaces ensure that all cells are in contact with the air, and carbon dioxide and oxygen are exchanged by diffusion here. The direction of diffusion depends upon the environmental conditions and the requirements of the plant. Important note that gills are the respiratory organs for fishes, and fishes takes in oxygen which is dissolved in water through the gills, and due to the low availability of the oxygen in the environment, breathing rate of aquatic organisms is faster. The earthworm respires through the skin, insects through spiracles and the tracheae, frog through the skin and the lungs. Thank you.